In a faraway kingdom, there lived a king and queen who had everything they could wish for, except for one thing, a child. They longed to have a baby of their own and prayed every day for this blessing. After many years, their wish finally came true, and the queen gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The king and queen were overjoyed, and they named the daughter Aurora. To celebrate the birth of Princess Aurora, the king and queen decided to throw a grand feast. They invited people from all over the kingdom to join in the celebration. Most importantly, they invited 7 good fairies to the feast, hoping that they would bless Aurora with gifts of kindness, beauty, and happiness. At the feast, the good fairies lined up to give the baby princess the blessings. The first fairy stepped forward and waved her magic wand over the crib, saying, "I give you the gift of beauty. You will grow up to be the most beautiful woman in the world." The second fairy said, "I give you the gift of wisdom. You will be wise and make good decisions." The third fairy said, "I give you the gift of grace. You will be graceful in everything you do." The other fairies also blessed her with gifts of kindness, joy, and love. But just as the 7th fairy was about to give her gift, the doors of the hall burst open, and a cold wind swept through the room. Everyone turned to see a dark figure standing in the doorway. It was the evil fairy Maleficent, who had not been invited to the feast. Furious at being left out, Maleficent cursed the baby princess. She pointed her long, bony finger at Aurora and said, "When the princess turns 16, she will prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die." The entire hall gasped in horror. But before anyone could react, the 7th good fairy stepped forward. She couldn't undo the evil fairy's curse, but she could soften it. The 7th fairy said, "The princess will not die. Instead, she will fall into a deep sleep that will last for 100 years. She will only awaken when a prince, who truly loves her, kisses her." Although the king and queen were still worried, they were somewhat comforted by the good fairy's words. To protect the daughter, the king ordered that every spinning wheel in the kingdom be destroyed. No one was allowed to spin thread or even own a spinning wheel. Years passed, and Princess Aurora grew up to be a beautiful and kind young woman, just as the fairies had promised. On her 16th birthday, the king and queen threw a small party for her, but they were still anxious about the curse. To keep her safe, they kept her inside the castle, surrounded by guards. However, on that fateful day, Aurora wandered through the castle, exploring rooms she had never seen before. In one of the highest towers, she found a small, dusty room. Inside, an old woman sat at a spinning wheel, spinning thread. Aurora was curious. She had never seen a spinning wheel before. The old woman, who was actually the evil fairy Maleficent in disguise, invited Aurora to try spinning. As soon as Aurora touched the spindle, she pricked her finger. At that moment, the curse took effect, and Aurora fell into a deep sleep. When the king and queen found her, they were heartbroken. They placed her on a bed of the softest silk and laid her in the grandest room in the castle. The 7th fairy, who had softened the curse, returned to the castle. She saw how much the king and queen loved the daughter and decided to put everyone in the castle to sleep as well, so that when Aurora woke up, she wouldn't be alone. A thick forest of thorns and vines grew around the castle, hiding it from the world. Years turned into decades, and the story of the sleeping princess became a legend. Many brave princes tried to fight their way through the forest, but the thorns were too thick, and they all failed. After 100 years had passed, a young and brave prince heard the story of the sleeping princess. He was determined to find her. The prince traveled to the hidden castle and fought his way through the thick, thorny forest. When he finally reached the castle, he found everyone inside asleep. He climbed the grand staircase and entered the room where Aurora lay, as beautiful as ever. The prince was enchanted by her beauty and leaned down to kiss her. The moment his lips touched hers, Aurora's eyes fluttered open. The curse was broken. All around the castle, the people began to wake up from their long sleep. The king and queen were overjoyed to see the daughter awaken well. Aurora and the prince soon fell in love and were married in a grand celebration. The kingdom rejoiced, and they all lived happily ever after.
If you liked our video, please subscribe and hit like button. Thanks.